Hello, I am Antonio Banderas and I am in a studio with The Hollywood Reporter.
Congratulations on your first Oscar nomination.
Thank you.
Best Lead Actor for Pain and Glory. Can we say that this is a celebration of an entire lifetime of work with Pedro Almodovar?
Yes, yes, you can say that. It's a very easy and very nice way to put it. But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, the nomination itself, but just in the way that I got here and the circumstances that are surrounding this nomination are all beautiful. You know, I mean, it's almost a dream.
Yeah.
With my best friend, cinematic friend, and you know, a relationship of 40 years, 8 movies together, and we closed this circle, you know, with a bunch of awards and recognitions, and especially, you know, knowing that the people connected to audiences all around the world. And the last thing is this, you know, a nomination for an Academy Award for the movie and for myself.
Yes, yeah, and you've touched on it a little bit with the fact that it's a Spanish-speaking film, but why else is it very important that Pain and Glory is recognized amongst all these other films this year?
Because, you know, besides, you know, the values that the movie has, and, you know, the fact that as an actor, that I've been working here for almost 23 years, and I never was nominated for a movie that I did in English, but they do it for a movie that I do in Spanish. It's important because it's a recognition also to my community.
Yes.
And the fact that there were a number of people coming here many years ago, generations ago, in need, you know, from countries that were in political problems, or economical problems, social problems. They came over here, they worked very hard, their kids went to universities, they came out, and they're architects, they're doctors or lawyers or politicians or movie directors or actors. So Hollywood had to have a reflection on that. And so it's important for me, it's important for the community that in a way, even if I am from Spain, I represent here, that they speak the same language that I speak. And then I think there is something also happening in the Academy that is very interesting in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's that the Oscars are getting more and more international. And it may happen that very soon the Oscars are not an American award. It's a worldwide recognition. But in order to do that, you have to accept filmmakers from all around the world to be part of this structure, to be part of this, you know, kind of, yeah.
Going back to your relationship with Pedro Almodovar, some have said that you're his muse. Do you agree with that, or?
I'm a male muse. I always thought that his muse was Penelope Cruz.
Ah, yes, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's muse. If I just produce inspiration for somebody,
That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, but I try just to think in a different way. I think, or I prefer to think that he creates characters and I can solve them.
Okay.
I can just, you know, provide the characters what he needed when he was writing them. And that's what I thought when I started working with him in the 80s and then now. It has changed during the years, the way that we establish our relationship with each other on the set, for many different reasons, you know. But it's no doubt the person that understands me the best.
Yes.
To a point that he's capable to obtain from me something that I didn't even suspect I had. And only that happens when you get into a state of abandonment. When you're not trying just to create the character with effort, but abandonment.
Yeah.
It's almost like surfing.
Yeah.
You don't try to compete with the wave, you just use it, right? Well, you know, and especially this movie has something like that, because in previous works that we did, I confronted him, and it was more kind of tension on the set, creative tension. I never fought with Almodovar, really, you know, because he's my friend and because I admire and respect him very much. But, you know, I got my ideas of what the character should be, and he got a different idea. But in this particular case, we stepped on the right foot from practically the beginning. We understood very well what was the procedure to make this movie.
And the difference between this movie and the movies you had made previously is that it's such a highly personal film for him. You're stepping into his hairstyle, his clothes, a lot of personality, a lot of who he is. So how was that different for you? I mean, it's interesting that you were actually more harmonious that way.
Everything that had to do with the exterior aspect of the character, including his apartment, which is an exact replica to his real apartment, all of that, yes, but not the performance. In the performance, I didn't want to create a caricature. Right. I didn't want to imitate him. I said, listen, I have your hair, whatever, but I have to create the character from another point of view. I have to create it from the inside out. Otherwise, we just may do a comedy because people know your mannerism, the way that you react to things, the way that you move your hands and stuff like that. So I didn't want to go there. I knew, because he speaks, he writes as he speaks, that sometimes that was going to come naturally without me forcing it, because it's a way of speaking that is very specific in Spanish. Idioms, in the way that he communicates things, that I knew that without making any kind of effort, it was going to come out as Pedro Almodovar. And then he's very smart, actually, how to create the illusion that I am him, a reflection in a furniture, for example. I remember this red furniture that is in my bedroom, and he just go more for the reflection than for myself, actually performing the character, and that creates the image of Almodovar suddenly. It's almost like a trick. And once you establish that, you start believing that what you're doing is him, without having to do a big thing, a big imitation.
Let's talk a little bit about your performance. This is a character who's closing himself off to the world. How do you create a performance when there's so much that's withheld?
Yeah, well, I knew that aspect of my friend because I saw him isolated like that, and if I didn't see him continuously, because at the time that he suffered from all of these maladies and diseases and stuff, I was here. But every time that I talk to my friends, they say, no, he's not going anywhere. He's just in the house. He got this photophobia thing. He cannot, bright lights perturbs him very much. And, migraines all the time, very strong, very profound. And then the back problems. And so he's in this kind of, so I knew partially. And I saw him sad But then my own experiences too, a heart attack that I suffered 3 years ago, I think it helped me very much to create this character in a way. And I've been talking too much about this, probably, about my heart attack, but believe me, I don't feel a victim of anything. If something came out of that heart attack, it's something good. A new way to understand life and to understand even my life professionally and how to attack characters. It gave me some tranquility and calmness that I didn't have before. And Pedro saw that and he says, I would love for you to use that and not hide it. Don't hide that. And I said, I know what you're talking about. So yeah, I know. There is you have another perception actually what life is all about. And so I knew that I could use it, so I did. So, all of the different aspects. And then very technical things that he commented to me. One of those things was we were going to work in very minimalist. He was going to put the camera very close to me.
Yes. What is that like to hear that you are going to be in close-up for so many of the shots?
For almost 80% of the movie, well, it means that you have to be careful. How you communicate, you have to be always sincere. You have to just offer sincerity. You cannot just say, oh, I'm in close-up, I'm going to do nothing. No, it's not about that. It's about being careful, and measuring yourself pretty much and knowing that you can just actually create very strong universes with very little. It's that simple. It was more complicated when he said to me, we should just create this character in a way transparent. So it's almost like a witness of himself. And you should allow the people to have a space into you. So we were trying not to drive them continuously to what are the feelings of the character. We see where the narrative is, where the character is, what is happening to him, see him using drugs and doing this and doing that and reacting to this and that, but always leaving any space for the spectator to feel that it can be you. that is more complicated.
Yes.
That is a little bit more complicated, but he is a master. And so I follow pretty much here. I try to listen to him continuously without trying to confront him as I did in some other times of our life. And the result is very interesting. It's very, the character got the capacity to get into the heart of people. And it's very interesting, but people react to the character even 2 or 3 days after. It's a movie that has a comeback, after you see it, very strong, like good wines.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What was the most difficult scene for you to perform?
The scenes that I thought that were going to be very difficult became very easy because, in a way, I abandoned myself without any pretension to it. And then the emotions came out of nowhere. I had no idea that I was going to have that result. The scene with my ex-lover when he's talking to me and telling me the story of his life now and how he developed his life and stuff like that. Because we rehearsed, but it never came in the rehearsals like that.
Yeah.
Never. There was one take only. And it came like that because I felt comfortable. I didn't pretend anything. I was not looking for anything. I just let myself go into listening. Just listening what he's telling me and remember when we were young, that it was different. And knowing that there is a space in the life of any person that is only a space for the truth. And he's telling me the truth. And it's beautiful. The scene with my mother, the same thing. Almodovar came, he tried to direct us and he couldn't direct us because he was very emotional. So I saw him and I said, well, all I have to do is just to feel with you, my friend. So I was feeling with him and he said action and I was there.
I have one last question
Sure.
for you. Your daughter is attending the Oscars with you this year.
Everybody knows that. He's been going around.
You've been on some talk shows. What does she think of your performance?
She loved it, actually. When she saw the movie, she called me and she said, "Oh, Papi, I loved the movie and I loved your performance." And she's critical. My daughter is not like Papi, Daddy. No. She's. I try, and I think I succeed with that to educate her and the people that surround her, the mother and some other people that were around.
Yeah.
Trying to make of her an independent, free thinker.
Yes.
And woman. For me, that was very important in the times that we're living, and she is.
So
she has that.
You got her seal of approval.
Yeah.
Antonio, thank you so much, and we'll see you at the Oscars.
All right.